Well, tonight, a business owner is asking for your help, finding more than $30,000 worth of equipment that thieves took after they ransacked his truck.
Yeah, it's equipment he says he needs to make a living. Our Michelle Pedraza joins us now with the surveillance video he hopes will lead to an arrest. Michelle.
Well, Joe, Mackenzie, Roberto Chapa woke up to a nightmare Tuesday morning after thieves spent just 30 minutes taking items he's taken over a decade to collect. Despite signs warning of security cameras, around 6 a.m. surveillance video shows 3 suspects get out of a 2001 white Chevy pickup truck. Chapa describing them as young men, stealing tools out of a separate truck in the front yard and more items out of Chapa's wife's SUV before they broke open his electrical fence to his backyard where his main work truck is, breaking into that where they unloaded every single item. Everything Chapa uses for his roofing and modeling business.
I need to get something done. I mean, I really don't have anything left to work with, and this is what I pay my bills with. I feed my children. I hope the police catch them. I hope somebody turns them in. You know, if they're your neighbor, if you know who they are, they're your friend, your cousin, your neighbor, you know, call the police.
Damage left to his electrical fence will cost about $2,000, but Chapa says this isn't the first time something like this has happened on his block. Just 6 months ago, thieves ripped his dashboard apart in one of his vehicles, taking a radio and speakers. Now, Chapa did file a police report, but asks that if you know anything about this to please call police. That number 361-886-2600. Mackenzie.